An unknown killer is still at large. Eyewitnesses have had sightings of a masked man holding a meat hook while carrying a corpse of a 12-year-old boy. Nobody knows who or what the killer is. If you have any information on this case, please contact your local police station. I read that from my local newspaper, and the memories of that night have come back to me. The look of his horrifying and disfigured face. I remember lying in my bed on the verge of sleep. I felt as if I was being watched by someone or something. I opened my eyes, looking around the room. Nothing. Just nothing. Then I heard the voice of a child. It was whispering, "Run away. Run." My eyes shot open. I saw a silhouette in the window. It charged towards me. Then it all went black. That's all I remember. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bedroom. The nurse came in. "You're finally awake. Turns out, someone tried to stab you," she said, with a strange facial expression. I looked around my body, seeing a hook-shaped wound in my chest and my arm. "At least your neighbors called the police in time. You would have been done for." I couldn't believe what really happened. When I was fit to come back home, I picked up the newspaper, and lo and behold, there was an article said above. I needed to find out more. Who was the killer? Why me? Why am I still alive? I needed answers. For the past 3 weeks, nothing much has happened. I didn't get much sleep. And when I would get nightmares of that face. I'd run, but it would stay there, just staring at me with that look that could drive a man insane. I always kept my guard up for the most simple things, such as washing my hands or getting something from the refrigerator. I honestly thought I could shrug this off and get on with my life, so I started working on my laptop. Then I went on the internet looking for answers. I needed to know who this person was and put him in jail. That's when I went on a forum in my local area, asking questions, and my computer crashed, completely beyond repair. I went to my local Best Buy looking for a new laptop, but it was closed. On a weekday, ironically. On the way home, I saw a man selling one in perfect condition. It looked like it was never used, but he only wanted $50. I thought it was a bit shady. The man had a weird smile every time I said mine broke, but I bought it anyways and went home. I loaded it up with all the backups I had on disks and flash drives to make sure it worked good as new. I was decoding all the files, making sure everything was in order. But then I came across a .wmv file I had no idea that I had. I right-clicked and saw when it was made. When I saw the date, the memory came back. It was the date of my attempted murder. I had to watch this, and when I clicked it, the computer blue screened, saying there was an unknown error. But I just had to watch it. I found the flash drive the file was on and went to the old computer in the back room. This time it came up, just a plain black screen with static, and this went on for a good 5 minutes. When I fast forwarded through the content, there was nothing but a black screen. When the last second of the video played, I saw a brief flash. I rewound the video and saw the most graphic, disgusting picture I've ever seen. It was a picture of a mutilated child. I nearly vomited my roast beef sandwich I had earlier. I wish I had never seen the picture, but at this point, I only know this killer is a child murderer. When the video was completely over, I heard glass shatter from upstairs. I ran upstairs, not knowing where it came from. When I went into my bedroom, I saw a flash drive on the floor. There was a note that went along with it. "Here's your answer." The drive was stained in blood. The paper label on the drive had simple text, "You." If these were the answers I needed, I could have put this maniac to justice. I ran to the computer and popped the drive in. The only contained file that I saw was YOU.wmv. Holding back my fear of the inevitable, I clicked on the file. I sat back and got prepared for what's to come. The video came on. There was static and the usual shimmers you'd see on an old TV that had no signal. Finally, content came on. Just a chair in a room with a white wall in the background. Someone came into the shot. It's about time. My eyes widened. It was the killer. He had a ski mask on. You could hear the constant whining of a child in the background. He grabbed the young one and bound him into the chair, kind of like an executioner would to a prisoner who was being executed on the electric chair. I think I knew where this was going. The child looked as if he was 12 years old. He looked confused and he was bawling. Why? The man came back into the shot, holding a bottle with the words, "Yummy juice," on it. He poured some of the liquid on the ground. It sizzled and burned holes into the floor. It was sulfuric acid. He poured some onto the child. The kid's skin bubbled and began to blister, and the youth screamed in agony. That's not the worst that happened. He shoved the bottle into the mouth of the kid. As the child began to wail and vomit blood, you could hear the bubbling and hiss of the acid burn his insides. The killer took the bottle out of his mouth and poured the rest of the contents onto the child's face. The skin began to melt off, showing how the mouth of the child had completely burned to a bubbly, blistered, vomit-inducing, fleshy mound. The bottle was empty. You could tell the killer was sadistically ecstatic with joy, seeing how much pain he gave the child. He went off screen, and the child began attempting to scream for help, but the acid had burned his vocal cords so he couldn't speak, but have occasional peeps from the last few threads that were left. You could tell that he was in horrendous pain. Finally, the man came back into shot with a meat hook. He swung it around and finally finished the job with a hook right to the head. Chunks of brain and skull splattered onto the wall. That was when I vomited. I thought it was over. 9 minutes had passed, but there was still about 2 minutes left. He unstrapped the child and threw him into the ground, and sat down on the chair as he brutally murdered him in cold blood. He sat there for 30 seconds when he finally took his mask off, showing the disfigured face that brought me many nightmares, and then he began to speak with a menacing death growl. "You may not know me, but I know you. By the power of Satan, I finally got the ability to kill. I've seen you, and thought you'll be the perfect one for my hook. I think you will get the answers you want by the laptop salesman you met today. Those sounds aren't the wind. Turn around." The computer screen went blue and then crashed. I saw the reflection from the screen, seeing a dark figure. I turned around, saw him just chuckling and swinging around his bloodied hook. He said to me, "This'll be fun. I'll make this one long and painful." And then he lunged at me, but was caught short by a gunshot. I saw the laptop salesman with a hook wound in his stomach. That shot gave him the smile he gave me when I bought the laptop. He looked at me, and I felt relief. That relief turned into fear when he pointed the gun at me. He walked slowly toward me. Then he calmly said, "I'm going to have to kill you both." I knew he wasn't kidding around. He slowly crept toward me. I thought my life was over. In an act of courage, I grabbed the bladed meat hook and swung it at his head. His brain matter scattered all over the wall. He took his last breath and finally fell to the ground. When the police came to recover the bodies, they picked up the body of the salesman. Something fell out. A USB drive. I picked it up and it said, "You." I didn't want to live those moments again, so I burned it along with the laptop he sold me. The USB wouldn't burn.